Why, hello, everybody. If you've landed here, you've landed on Let's Talk News, and I am your host, Leticia Remauro, and I don't even know my name because I'm sickish today. Um, I've been kind of sickish for the last couple of days, which is why I'm so cranky. About this time of year, my husband always gets a bad sinus infection, and his germs are so strong that he always manages to give it to me. And of course, the next week is Thanksgiving, and I can't afford to be sick, and so I'm gonna go get this taken care of. But enough about me. How about you? How are you, Francine? What's going on? Anything new? Are you guys ready for Thanksgiving next week? Um, yeah, Thanksgiving next week. And then we have Christmas right around the corner. So this year has moved really, really fast. I'm a little bummed because that means we're 1 year closer to the end of Trump's term. And it feels like we are in exactly the same position that we were in 45, where we started off the year really good, gangbusters, doing stuff. Like today's jobs report came out and it was great. The inflation rates have been coming down or holding steady, which is good. Everything is going the way it's supposed to be going. But of course, you've got those assholes out there who are just trying to destroy this presidency. And frankly, I am exhausted by it. Exhausted. Hello, Kevin Young. Good to have you. Hello, Professor. Professor, sometime this week I'm going past a place called Khaki Lackey. And I'm going to take a picture and I'm going to show it for you. Um, every time I see it, I think of you. Hello, Angela Ricca. How are you, darling? Good to see you. Yeah, I mean, anybody else just like fed up? I feel like it's just enough already with these lies and these innuendos. Sorry. And this constant badgering that doesn't allow anybody to take a break from just distress. I mean, there's just nothing. I don't know. Were we this bad when Biden was president? I know I wasn't the greatest, but I don't remember talking about him every single day and, giving crap about it every single day. Maybe I did, and I just don't remember. I never thought about the president that much, and now I feel like all we do is think about the president because all we have to do is defend ourselves. And things have come along. I mean, you're either a Trump person or you're not a Trump person, and when did that happen? When did that happen? I don't get it. Common sense is gone. And I feel like we're all under attack all the time. I was talking to somebody today and they needed my expert advice. And we had to really consider whether I should be the one in public giving it because of the whole bullshit that happened. Where with me likening De Blasio to Hitler, and the left making such a big deal about it. And I'm just tired of it. I'm just tired of everything having to be judged by whether you support Trump or you don't support Trump. How about everything be judged by, how are we moving along? Uh, yeah, okay. Any particular reason you want me to say meow, plasma zombie? Happy to indulge your crazy fantasies. If it's an old woman saying meow, yeah, I feel bad for you. You get some better fantasies. Um, yeah. So anybody else? We're going to have family over. Anybody having trepidations that the conversation around the table on Thanksgiving is going to be a little bit difficult. Um, Anybody worried about that stuff? Well, you're all very quiet tonight, huh? Okay, but that's fine. That's fine. I can entertain myself. That's the one thing I've always been able to do is entertain myself. And I have some video clips that, we can have a look at. Oh yeah, for my cuteness. Oh man, either you need glasses or you, yeah, I don't want to know. Well, thank you. Thank you. I'll never turn down a compliment, even though it's absolutely misplaced. Okay, so here goes the crazy hair again, which I put on a hat so it wouldn't fly all up my face and in my nose, and I wouldn't be doing that stuff, but I'm doing it again. Okay, so let's just talk about did you did you we played a couple of days ago the uh, Washington Post. They did a timeline match on Epstein's texts with the hearing with Michael Cohen, and showed that Epstein was schooling and guiding Plaskett, who, at that time that we were talking, I misspoke. I thought she was Dominican Republic. Of course, she's not. She's Virgin Islands. Dominican Republic doesn't belong to us. So why would she be in Congress, right? It's Puerto Rico and Virgin Islands belong to us. Anyway, and that's where Epstein's Island is Virgin Islands. So we saw him directing her and telling her what to say and working with her to, nail Trump. And we were all horrified by it. And any thinking person was horrified by it, because it's not like Epstein was still, like we were still in the 90s and Epstein was on his game and, it was all that star-studded, disco crap. It was well after, it was 2019. It was well after Epstein had been convicted of being, what was it? Having sex with a minor, and that he got a slap on the wrist. So it was well after that. He was known, and all about Epstein Island was known. There were no secrets anymore about this. And she was letting him guide her, all because she wanted to get Trump, right? And so in the pursuit of getting Trump, it doesn't matter what you do, apparently. As long as you get Trump in the end, then hanging out with pedophiles, being blackmailed by pedophiles, whatever, none of that, you should never not be condemned for that. That's what the dumb Democrats, and I mean the dumb Democrats in the news media and in Congress, seem to think. And I'm going to tell you right now, if it was a Republican that was doing that, I'd be skewering that person too. But it wasn't. It was Plaskett, and it was in the pursuit of getting Trump. And so CNN, to their credit, actually asked Jeffries about it. And listen to what Jeffries had to say. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. You've been commenting, and I have been ignoring. I'm sorry. Hello, Susan Durema. Good to have you. If the Dems would focus all their negative energy to something positive, we could be a better than great country. Isn't that the truth, Angela? And that's what I think I'm just exhausted by. Can't we just see the good things that are happening? And okay, you don't like some things, fine. Hello, the goat. I don't know, 123. The goat 19. I don't know, 123. That's some name. Good to have you. Thanks for joining us tonight. Mazzy, good to have you. Good to have you, Debbie. Hi, Ralph. Common sense isn't common. Yeah, it's at a premium these days. Hello, Colleen. They sell their soul to try to hurt Trump. And it's, I don't see how we don't recognize this as problematic. But anyway, listen to Jeffrey. I don't want to try. I get so aggravated that my voice goes up so many octaves and it becomes even more annoying than my husband says it is. So I'm going to try and not do that tonight. Listen to Jeffries try and explain away the coaching of Plaskett from Epstein.
See Plaskett there. She was arguing her texts with Jeffrey Epstein were not illegal, but in your view, were they appropriate?
Well, Stacey Plaskett is not accused of violating any House rule, any law, any statute, and she's clearly and unequivocally denounced Jeffrey Epstein. And I think what the survivors fought for today is the type of transparency that came out of the House, went through the Senate, and is now on its way to Donald Trump's desk, where hopefully he'll sign it into law, because at the end of the day, all the American people are asking for is just the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, which is why these Epstein files that Donald Trump and his administration has been hiding for months need to be released.
But do you think it was appropriate for her to be texting with Jeffrey Epstein 11 years after he pleaded guilty?
I mean, I have not had a conversation with Stacey Plaskett to discuss this issue, because we've been focused today on making sure that there was a decisive vote as it related to the Epstein files and the release. I'm thankful for the work of Representative Massey, of Ro Khanna, but most importantly, the survivors.
Do you plan to talk to her about it?
I think that we successfully defeated a resolution that lacked any basis, was not credible, and was being brought by an individual who was trying to weaponize this issue to reinvigorate his own failed gubernatorial campaign in South Carolina. It was rejected on a bipartisan basis on the floor today. That's the end of the story.
Yeah, I was just asking if you personally believe messaging with Jeffrey Epstein, who is at that point a registered sex offender, is appropriate for a member of the House Democratic Caucus.
That's the third time you've asked me this question, and I'm going to give you the same exact answer. Our focus today is on making sure that the Jeffrey Epstein files were released. If you want to have a conversation with Stacey Plaskett about it, I'm sure she'd be willing to talk to you. It was an illegitimate effort to try to remove her from the House Committee on Intelligence, and that was defeated in a bipartisan way.
I don't know. That just pisses me off. He was asked the question point blank 3 times, and he admitted he was asked the question 3 times. The question wasn't, can you speak for Plaskett? The question was, do you think it was appropriate? Why is that important? Because he is the House minority leader in the House. So he's a leader of the delegation and the mastermind, supposedly, behind all of these messaging schemes that they have going on. So how is that acceptable? How do the American people accept that our elected officials will, tap dance all over, and don't even give me grief over that? All of elected officials tap dance around an answer, not give an answer, avoid an answer, and we accept it. How? I mean, I think that we've been anesthetized to the fact that, they think that we're all idiots. I'm exhausted by it. I'm exhausted. Let's see, what do we got? We didn't watch Biden for 4 years when he was president, the way Trump gets tortured. I think that I agree with you. We didn't root for Republicans to get in the way of things. I will admit that I wanted them to not continue with that CR. I wanted a budget that was going to reduce taxes and reduce spending, and we never saw that. But Johnson cooperated. He kept government running, even though I didn't love it. And the real fireworks, during the Biden years were actually from us, from the Republicans, right? The Matt Gaetz taking out Kevin McCarthy and all that stuff. So yeah, I can't. Unfortunately, people need to hate something or someone. But this is all new, Deb. You and I are the same age. We remember when, Congress was cooperated. I mean, probably, the Clinton administration with Newt Gingrich. I mean, that was probably the best cooperation we've seen. And then Ronald Reagan. Those were good years where we cooperated and worked together. I meant torture Biden. Yeah, torture. Yeah. They didn't torture Biden. You're absolutely right. Biden didn't hide this all during his term, not to mention Obama. Yeah, and plenty of people ask about that. Ask about a lot of the media ask about why it didn't come out under Biden, and they keep on going. Oh well, Ghislaine Maxwell. Well, Ghislaine Maxwell had appeals going on right up until a couple of weeks ago, or a couple of months ago. So what the hell are they talking about? ATACMS ×4 were sent into Russia. America control ATACMS. That just happened? Well, you knew it was going to happen, right? You knew it was going to happen. He's fed up. The left, so what you're saying is World War III is starting. That's what you're saying. The left wing's policies are get Trump, support illegal, support criminals, support pedophiles. Apparently it is. It is never support the American people. Always word salad with no real answer. I mean, but then he actually said, you asked me 3 times and I'm not going to answer. Why aren't we outraged by that? That we're not outraged by. But because Trump talks about that people who are telling soldiers not to obey lawful orders are seditionists, and that sedition is punishable by death, that's a problem. And we'll talk about that in a minute. That's why I like Trump. He's a little rough, but he gives a direct answer. Oh, yeah. And then he talks too much. This is like watching a Netflix series, Bizarro World. Yeah. It's like that Black Mirror thing. I mean, yeah, my head hurts. Hopefully get these appropriations built through before the next shutdown. Yeah, well, we'll see. Oh, you think some, let's see, binder bus 990. Well, explain why. Just coming on and saying you're a fool makes you look like an idiot, and it makes you look ignorant. So why don't you have a moment and tell me why, and we can discuss it, because I could assure you I'm not a fool. And I never go on people's pages and say silly stuff like that. So, but you're more than welcome to express yourself and explain why you think I'm foolish or a fool. And while you do that, I'm going to play you this silly lie that cannot be accepted by anybody from Jasmine Crockett.
And you talked about Republicans taking money from a Jeffrey Epstein. Here's what you said.
Who also took money from somebody named Jeffrey Epstein, as I had my team dig in very quickly. Mitt Romney, the NRCC, Lee Zeldin, George Bush, Win Red, McCain Palin, Rick Lazio.
You mentioned Lee Zeldin there. He's now a cabinet secretary. He responded and said it was actually Dr. Jeffrey Epstein, who's a doctor that doesn't have any relation to the convicted sex trafficker. Unfortunate for that doctor, but that is who donated to a campaign of his. Do you want to correct the record on the people that
Listen, I never said that it was that Jeffrey Epstein. Just so that people understand, when you make a donation, your picture is not there. And because they decided to spring this on us in real time, I wanted the Republicans to think about what could potentially happen, because I knew that they didn't even try to go through the FEC. So my team, what they did is they Googled. And that is specifically why I said a Jeffrey Epstein. Unlike Republicans, I at least don't go out and just tell lies. Because it was not the same one, that's fine. But when Lee Zeldin had something to say, all he had to say was it was a different Jeffrey Epstein. He admitted that he did receive donations from a Jeffrey Epstein, so at least I wasn't trying to mislead people.
What the fuck? What the fuck? What the fuck? He admitted that he got a donation from a Jeffrey Epstein. So at least it proved that I was right and I was not trying to mislead people. What the fuck? Debbie said something here, and I think that we all need to look at this for a minute. The question why we are not outraged is because they are wearing us down, one thing after another. Debbie, like children tag teaming parents. I want to go. Please let me go. Let me go. I want to go. I want to go. It becomes so much that all of a sudden the parent gives in because they can't anymore. And that's what I feel like you're 1,000,000% correct. And I feel like that is what is going on. They're just wearing us down. And when they looked deeper, all the people she mentioned did not receive any funds. None of them. That's right. And she's a lawyer, and she should know that her words are slanderous. And if you watch the rest of that, and I was going to play the whole thing, but then I decided that I couldn't because I have a brain aneurysm and I would worry that it might burst. The stuff she says about Trump, so slanderous and such a lie. And Caitlyn pushes her on it and she goes, "Oh, I don't know. I just said it." And it's like a jury, right? If you say something in front of a jury, they can't unhear it. They could be told to strike it from the record, but they can't unhear it. Andrew Dorman, hello. How are you? Tate Simpson, how are you? Good to have you here, Tate. Where are you? What are you doing? And what do you think about all these lies that are being put out there with no apology from, silly House Democrats? Well, we need to toughen up quick. Yeah, but when you toughen up, then you get a whole new slew of crap. You believe me or you're lying, guys. Right. I'm just so tired of it. I'm exhausted by it. I'm tired of them pretending that there is a there where there's no there. And then when there is a there, they say it's not a there, it's a them. I can't. I can't. It is just mind-boggling that the press is not holding their feet to the fire. I mean, I appreciate Caitlyn, asking Jeffries over and over and over again, and him not, giving the answer. But we need a world like before, where when things explode, people recognize that they're in trouble and they can't just say shit. I mean, what would have been the big deal if she would have said, "All right, I rushed and I got called out on it. I'm guilty." But the thing is, he was saying XYZ. I don't know. But no, they doubled down. She doubled down. I'm glad he admitted he got a donation from a Jeffrey Epstein. He admitted it, so I'm not misleading people. What? That all started, by the way, because somebody brought up the fact that Hakeem Jeffries actually solicited Jeffrey Epstein for a donation, solicited him in an email asking him to a fundraiser. That was in the files. They wanted the files. The files came out. There was a big dump of 50,000 pages, and that happened to be in it. So now you're going to get incensed and try and turn it back around on everybody else? Crazy, especially when it's a lie. Lies are all they have. Yeah, but the problem is that they're like barking chihuahuas. They're not annoying enough to tune out because you're never sure when they're going to bite. It's exhausting defending nonsense. I decided I'm not going to do it anymore. I'm not going to defend anything. There's nothing to defend. He needs to keep his head down. And you know what he needs to do? Honestly, in my 2 cents, I think he should stop all press communication like Biden did. I think he should have let them call him like he's losing it or whatever. Let's do press conferences like Biden did once every 6 months. Send our girl there in with her binder. And 90% of the questions asked is, "I'll get back to you." Don't give them exposure on Air Force One. Don't give them exposure to the president because, if they don't have the ability to communicate with him, then they can't. What are they going after him for? Trump's biggest problem is his accessibility and his transparency. The fact that he gives too much access to people. He needs to stop. If we're exhausted, imagine how frustrated Trump is. I don't think he is, because here's the thing. I think he gets off on it. He loves winning and he loves being right. And if he was that exhausted by it, I think that he'd slow down the conversations. But he turns up the rhetoric. I mean, come on. So here's what he said. Let's see. This got the whole world going. Oh, hold on a second. Let's see if I could read it. So this was that the video that I showed, the 6 members of Congress, telling soldiers that they don't have to follow Trump's orders. So Trump puts the link to the Washington Examiner, and he says, this is really bad and dangerous to our country. Their words cannot be allowed to stand. Seditious behavior from the traitors. Lock them up. President DJT. And then he says seditious behavior, you're punishable by death. Now, don't we know that seditious behavior is punishable by death? We all know it. Yet they went out there and that's what they chose to do. And he needs to call them out, because that's, if this was another time, they'd have been arrested immediately. Now, you saw two parts. You saw what it said. That was his Truth Social. Now, I want you to see Congressman Chris Murphy.
The President of the United States just called for Democratic members of Congress to be executed.
Okay, you heard that, right? The President of the United States called for Democratic members of Congress to be executed. I'm going to play the whole thing. But what the fuck? Where did he say that?
The President of the United States just called for Democratic members of Congress to be executed. This is not normal. We cannot allow this to feel normal. This, as far as I know, has never happened before in the history of the country. Every Democratic member of the Senate and the House, their life is in jeopardy right now, especially those that were specifically targeted by this social media post. Democratic senators and House members who were simply saying that no member of the military should act illegally or in violation of the Constitution. The President of the United States just called for members of Congress to be executed. If you are a person of influence in this country, maybe it's time to pick a fucking side. If you are a Republican in Congress, if you are a Republican governor, maybe it's time to draw a line in the sand and say that under no circumstances should the President of the United States be calling on his political opposition to be hanged. We are at a very dangerous moment right now. The President is engaged in the wholesale incitement, endorsement, and rationalization of political violence in this country. This is a very slippery slope that we are on. This is a moment for people to step up, for Republicans to step up, for business leaders to step up. Anybody who has a voice or a soapbox in this country needs to draw a line in the sand and say that it is not acceptable for the President of the United States to call on the murder of his political opposition.
So, hanged. Hey, he said that Trump called for them to be hanged. Bullshit. This is crazy. And he also said that that never happened, and it did. I'm going to, I'll read you some stuff. You guys were, okay. Here. Francine, and they will not admit they are wrong. They will just double talk and lie. Yes, indeed. They never admit they're wrong. Biden chose the reporters and only pre-approved questions. Yeah, Trump should do that. That would just drive them all insane. They'd say that he was having Alzheimer and dementia if he did that. It won't matter what Trump does. It's a witch hunt. They want to draw blood. That is their motivation. Yeah, well, their motivation is leverage, right? We learned that. It doesn't matter who gets hurt as long as they have leverage. I think we may need you tomorrow after Trump's meeting with Mamdani tomorrow. You know what? I'll do a special tomorrow. Yeah, because that's going to be hysterical. What the fuck is right? Enough of their bullshit. The Trump derangement syndrome is out of control. It sure is. And those 6 members of Congress that said they knew what they were doing to incite him to say or do something so they can hang him in some way, and it worked. They did. Absolutely. I mean, think about that. He must have gotten an A+ in his theater class. Yeah, really. But it worked for them, not MAGA. Yeah, you're right. Trump didn't say that at all. No, he didn't. But they baited him, and he took the bait. he said traitors against the USA and the commander-in-chief needs to be punished according to the Constitution. No, he didn't. He said that it was seditious behavior. And then he later said seditious behavior. I think I put it up. I'll put it up again so that we're all on the same page. It's laughable. They project everything they do onto us. Political violence comes from the left. Yes, it does. Here's what he said. Okay, here it is. This is really bad and dangerous to our country. Their words cannot be allowed to stand. Seditious behavior from traitors. Lock them up. And then he said seditious behavior punishable by death. That is exactly what he said. That's his tweets, those two tweets. There are no others. Those are the two. And that's what he said. So let's just see. People have been put to death in this country for treason. Was executed. All right, for example. All right, so why am I not getting hold on, let's just see. So John Adams, in fact, no person has ever been executed by the federal government specifically. Oh, okay. All right, so nobody's ever been executed by the federal government specifically on treason. Federal convictions. While there have been federal treason trials throughout U.S. history, especially during times of crisis, like the Whiskey Rebellion or the World Wars, no one has been executed under a federal sentence for treason. President George Washington and John Adams, for instance, pardoned individuals convicted of treason during their terms. State convictions. Execution for treason have occurred at the state level, not the federal level. The most notable example is the abolitionist John Brown, who was convicted and executed for treason against the Commonwealth of Virginia in 1859 for his raid on Harper's Ferry. Isn't that interesting? Another instance was William Bruce Mumford, executed by Louisiana authorities during the Civil War for tearing down a U.S. flag. Other capital punishments. Convicted crimes to national security, such as espionage or conspiracy. Okay, so there is a persistent but false story that Thomas Jefferson personally executed a man for treason on the White House lawn. This originated from a movie and has no basis in historic fact. Okay, but to say that that no president has ever said such things, that is incorrect. Presidents have said such things, and they've said worse. You take a look at Theodore Roosevelt, take a look at Truman. Lots of hairy things have been said by presidents. They just forget because in modern times, their presidents have all been chasing skirt or nookie or whatever else, right? Or comatose. So to say that no president ever spoke like that, acted like that is absolutely ridiculous. And you know what? Maybe we want a president that doesn't act like the rest of them, because the rest of them put us in this position and in this condition. And maybe it's time for us to get a president with balls. Just saying. I bet other strong countries wouldn't tolerate this bullshit for 1 minute. Absolutely not. Yesterday, when he was addressing the Saudi businesses, and they were talking about DEI and trans, Trump said they have no idea what I mean when I'm talking about trans men and women. They have no idea. And he's right, because they wouldn't allow it. These Dems obviously don't care about the national security. They don't care about anything. They care about one thing: leverage. They've told us that. They told us that with the shutdown, that you really hurt the economy again. I mean, they don't care. They don't care. Around Thanksgiving, they don't care. They don't care about America. We know that, because if they cared about America, they wouldn't have turned their backs and closed their eyes and pretended that 20 million illegal migrants weren't coming in. And did you notice the jobs report today? The migrants that left and Americans are taking their job. Oh my gosh. All right, we got to go because I'm late. This is not time to ask our brains. We need to stay alert and informed and educated. And Leticia, you do that for us. Thank you. I try, and that's why I'm back. I'm not gonna go Take 4 years off. I'm relaxed. I'm just not. We need conservative voices. He wanted me to pick a fucking side. I picked a side. He wanted me to stand up and speak. I'm doing that right now, right here. Fuck you, Murphy. But will Trump take action on it? Talk is cheap. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if it's in our best interest that he do. I mean, really, I think that if he just acts like who he is, the leader he is, I think we'll be fine. I don't think he needs to act on it. Democrats have become the enemy of America. BJ, I'm starting to wonder if that wasn't always the case. And what I mean by that is, right, when the business people, they all were down south with the cotton and everything, and the plantations and planting and all that stuff. They really didn't want to get involved in the Revolutionary War. They didn't want us to break away from Britain. New York sure didn't, right? I mean, South Carolina was the first one to say, let's go. But, Georgia and Florida, North Carolina, Virginia, they weren't so keen on going to war. So I'm not sure if it's just now that they've become the enemy of America. Maybe they always were counterpoint to America. I just don't remember a time where Democrats were capitalist, like truly, capitalists and protectors of human rights. I mean, the Civil War, the treating, the slaves and, separating from the government over ownership of people. I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Truman was okay, I guess. FDR was, but FDR wasn't okay. Because if you read about FDR, he and Hitler were like, they were so tight. They were so tight. He loved Hitler. He just thought Hitler was great. He loved how Hitler controlled everything over there. So I don't know. Give me a good Democrat. I mean, Bill Clinton, I thought, was a good president if he could keep his pants on. But that was mostly because Newt Gingrich was working with him. They were working cooperatively. And that was like almost a co-presidency, really. Because he and Gingrich got a lot of things done for America. Some not so great, but some good things. Reagan too. Reagan had some problems. I mean, he started with this trade going abroad. That was no good. It destroyed American jobs and the economy. So, I mean, I guess they've all had our problems. But anyway, I'm really over it. Thank you and have a good night. Okay. Let him show proof, but he can't. What else is here? Mixed messages can cause chaos and mutiny in the military and could cost lives. And I think that's what they were looking for, Colleen. JFK, I don't know. Did he have enough time to be president? I don't even think so. You can't have Democrats telling members of our armed forces to disobey military orders. Action must be taken against them for these reckless comments. I am with you. I said that yesterday. FDR was a major socialist. Absolutely. And he loved Hitler. I mean, loved him. Read some of this stuff and blow your mind. All right. Okay. So I'll see you tomorrow. I'll come. We'll talk about Mom Donnie and Trump. I'll try and get here for 8, if not 8:15. I'll get here though. All right. I love you all. Thank you. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for driving the conversation. And look at who it is. It's John Cooper. FDR did not like Hitler. Yes, he did. Oh my God, you're wrong again. Go look it up. There were love letters between them. Oh my God. I swear to God, I'm just trying to figure you out. You can't be a bot. And you can't be that ignorant. You just can't. Good night, Kevin. All right. I don't know if I'm going to have sweet dreams. Thanks, BJ. Because I'm all wound up now. And I can't. John Cooper. No, don't Google, John. Read it. No Googling. Google is bullshit. You got to read. If that's John, listen to me, John. I think you're young. I hope you're young, and I hope that maybe I impress a little something on you. Google doesn't know everything. People write Google. All right. People write history books too. But if you, as a matter of fact, you know what, John, I will come back and I'll give you some links, and then you can see for yourself that FDR and Hitler loved each other. Okay. All right. Okay. I will talk to you. What did I read? Honey, I'm 62 years old. I've been reading since I'm 7. And I've been reading politics since I'm 9. I've read everything. I'll send you the link, sweetheart. Don't worry. I don't want you to be in the dark. We love you, Leticia. Thank you. Are you 64? Come on. If you are, honey, I don't know. All right. Well, we'll have to talk. People write Wikipedia. Yeah, I don't get it. I mean, John comes on all the time and he leaves me these love notes. And I try. I really do. I try. I try to communicate, but he's got this TDS that's ridiculous. And I don't even know if it's just TDS. I just don't know if he's such a liberal that, he just likes to argue. I'm not sure, but we'll find out. I will send you links, John Cooper. All right, guys, I'm really leaving this time. Bye.